The 25th of April 2024.
The Day to Be Different podcast.
That's what we're calling it. Okay, let's go.
Live from South Africa. From South Africa to the world. So today again we're talking about temptation and again our role in it. Or otherwise how we view our role in it, should I say.
Can I just say one thing before we start?
Yeah.
This is not us trying to be fancy or holier than thou. You and I are living this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right now.
Like a disclaimer, I don't know whoever's going to listen to this, but KB and I are living this. This is not something any knowledge of wisdom you will hear from this, even if it's to our future selves, this is coming from God.
100%.
It's not really from us. And we're not trying to be all politically correct or anything. This is just raw, real. We're living it. We're not perfect. We're struggling, but we're striving at the same time. Anyway.
Doing what we can, man. Doing what we can. Trusting in God. Now that you're mentally and hopefully spiritually prepared, let us then go into our key scripture for this session. And that would be James 1 verse 13 to 18. So James is towards the end of the Bible. It's in the New Testament after Hebrews. And I'm going to read from pick a translation.
NIV is just solid, but let's go NLT. We've been doing NIV. Let's see what the NLT has to say.
Okay, let's go NLT. Also a solid translation. You should hear the audio versions of this. It's so dramatic, yeah. Anyway.
Really?
Dude, it's on the app. You can press play. So, and remember, when you are being tempted, do not say, God is tempting me. God is never tempted to do wrong, and he never tempts anyone else. Temptation comes from our own desires, which entice us and drag us away. These desires give birth to sinful actions, and when sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. So don't be misled, my dear brothers and sisters. Whatever is good and perfect is a gift coming down to us from God our Father, who created all the lights in the heavens. He never changes or casts a shifting shadow. He chose to give birth to us by giving us his true word. And we, out of all creation, became his prized possession.
Like a Morgan Freeman going on there. Alright.
He chose to give birth to us by his...
Hey, that's not bad, actually.
Right.
Jeez, alright, okay.
Dude, one thing... I mustn't lock my phone. One thing that I didn't catch before...
Yeah.
Because we spoke, you especially spoke about the giving birth thing and that metaphor.
Yeah.
I don't think we really made the link in conversation about the fact that it says here in verse 18, he chose to give birth to us by giving us his true word. So God has given birth to us. So now what we give birth to is like his grandchildren. That's just interesting.
Okay,
yeah. That's a weird thing, but it is, man.
I see what you're saying.
That's so interesting. So we have in our nature, in our truest nature, from how we were designed to be, we should give birth to goodness, because what is good and perfect comes down from our Father who's given birth to us.
Yeah.
Yo, dude. NLT, man. I don't know what it says in NIV, but I didn't see this in this context before.
Yeah, I also don't remember seeing it.
Wow, that's pretty interesting, man. Alright, that's interesting. So we're gonna go into our study document, super bright. And in here, can't I minimize this? I can't. Okay, whatever. So I think the last question we were on was maybe number 9. You can tell me if you recognize number 10. The last question.
Being said that all the foundation of sin and temptation, or it's with that hash in between. Yeah, okay, we did that.
Is a lack of faith in some part of God's characters.
Yeah,
did we do number 10? I remember number 9.
Number 10, in what areas do you have a hard time trusting? No, we did not do number 10.
I feel like we didn't do that. So the last question we had done previously was, it says, it's been said that at the foundation of sin and temptation, is a lack of faith in some part of God's character. Is this always true or just sometimes? So I sort of remember my answer and your answer, and this was just after we had gone back to read Genesis based on a Bible study where we learned that the enemy essentially tried to deceive Adam and Eve into believing that there was something to doubt about God's character. Like, did God really say this? And him trying to make them believe that they could get something that they already had, or that they didn't have something that they already had.
Yeah.
To say that they would be like God, when it states that we were made in God's image, so we already were like God, or are like God still actually, but yeah. So I remember I basically said that I think that directly or indirectly, in smaller and big ways, the root will always be a lack of faith in God's character. As much as we are not saying, "Ah, God, I don't trust you to feed me today" or something, like, we don't directly say that in us feeling hungry and then worrying about what there is to eat or something. We don't directly say we don't trust God, but it's more built into like the way the world brings us up to worry about such things, to feel like there's not enough type of thing, where there's yeah, it can be hard to believe that there is enough, should I say, based on the way that the world works, the way people work, the way we fight over things and all that. So indirectly, like, just deep down it's buried, but it ends up pretty much being a lack of faith in God's character. And then you said
I said sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I remember saying, like, sometimes it's just human nature. It's not like we actively thinking, no, I don't trust God. This is why I'm going to fall into temptation. So yeah.
Not fair. So yeah, that's what we ended with. And just to go back to the answer sheet, it said allow group to discuss law. So that's exactly what we did, and we just discussed it with you. So you're part of the group. Yay. All right. Question number 10. We have got 4 questions left. Question number 10. In what areas do you have a hard time trusting in God's goodness? Trusting that His plans are good for you and not harmful or hurtful.
Oh, this one is hitting home, dude.
Yeah.
This one you should know already.
You gotta answer first.
Yeah. So this is definitely, I'm living this. Like, this is, I feel for me, like, I can see God's goodness and I can be grateful for it and I can acknowledge it. And I trust that His plans are good for me and everything. But when you don't see evidence, especially if it's, I'm not even saying after a short time, I'm even saying after a long time, not seeing evidence of God's goodness is kind of, it's hard. It really is hard to trust Him. When you've done something, you've obeyed Him for so long, and still no results. You know, like, you'll question, do you actually have a plan, God? And that's where I think you can doubt God sometimes. If we expect things to happen overnight, then that's a flaw in ourselves. But for me, this one is quite tough, because it's like, what if you're faithful for your 7 years, or or for 1 year, you've done what God has asked you to do, and still you're not seeing anything, no evidence. I find it very hard to trust Him. Because I don't know, I think maybe it's just me, but I'm built to want to see the fruits of my labor, which is not unnatural, because God mentions seed time, harvest, like, that's a principle of this planet, that's from before the law was even made. You'll sow, there's time, there's harvest. So, but through all of that, you have to trust Him. And I feel like we can start to doubt Him. Or let me not even say we. I've started to doubt Him when I did the planting of the seed, I did the waiting, and I'm expecting this harvest, and still nothing. You know, like, what now, God? I don't even know, what is the question? What areas do you have a hard time? In all the areas, be finances, relationships, anything where you've been faithful and you don't see anything. I think that's where I find it hard. Like, it could be any area. It's just in the waiting that your trust can grow weaker. Yeah, I don't know if I'll answer the question, but yeah.
No, that's how you feel about it, 100%. So yeah, dude, I can recognize, understand that it can feel hard. That especially if we might have certain expectations or, of course, desires that we'd like to see fulfilled. Yeah, I know I've been there. I still have our moments, definitely. We all have our moments, really. And yeah. So let me see if I answer for myself, and then I think we just discuss a bit more. Yeah. So for me, I know where it's been hard is definitely going to be with relationships, or you know, I don't know. I think for me, it's a level of understanding, or a level of, or just a perception in terms of how I expect things to go, or to look, or to feel, or whatever. I don't know, man. So for me, that would probably be why, for myself, I was so, like, it was so easy for me to just dive into, lust and all, yeah, lust, porn, masturbation, all the different things over the years, because, where's my phone locking? Because I did not have that conceptualization of contentment, the conceptualization of trust, and that long-term view of goodness. I didn't have that before. I'm still growing in that. I think that's something that plagues just about all of us. It can be different to some, can hit some to different levels, but I think it definitely plagues all of us. So for me, man, it's, yeah, after so many years, it's still tough to go long stretches and just, it's tough to rewire my brain, or allow it to be rewired, my brain and my heart and all that around, for instance, how I look at women and stuff like that. Besides me, like, it's almost like I act, it feels almost like I act as if I won't see a woman again. It feels like from time to time that's how I act, man. Like, I was trying to drink it in, like, it's like, bro, relax, man. Like, and also that's just not a great way to look at women in any case, man. If it's not at all to just, to see and honor, but to specifically be looking and like drinking in with my eyes, it's just not great. And it's like, be content, man, and at best just be like, oh God, that's a beautiful person, and then just continue with life, man. Look away, like, don't try and drink the person in or objectify them and stuff. So yeah, I guess for me that has been a hard time, but I'm glad to now have the mindset and the conceptualization. For me now, it's honestly more and more practice and unwiring and unlearning and stuff. I think I'd like to hope and think that I'm getting there. I feel like I'm in my second round of unlearning and stuff. Like, last year was proper like porn and stuff, like, and people having sex and whatnot, like that I'm pretty like good with not wanting to search for that, watch that. Like, if it pops up in a show, it's like, oh, okay, wow. But I know I specifically don't want to like search for that. But now for me, it's still just bodies. Bodies is now still the wiring part that's taking place. But anyway, but yeah, God is good, and I'm just trusting the work. Like, and I'm counting, like, I'm happy to see the victories here and there. I'm happy to see that I keep wanting to do it. That's also important. To not give up, because, hey, yeah. So I just want to say, man, regarding what you said also, man. So yeah, it's tough, man. Yeah, I can point you to a lot of people in the Bible, a lot of nations, a lot of examples, but here the question will be, and I've asked myself, and I've also, I think I told you I even asked my girlfriend, like, on the one hand, who are we to say that things should go a specific way? Like, how do we know? Type of thing, like, and also, so now I'm going to give you a bit here, dude. Like, so for instance, say relationship. Let's talk relationship now, right? Let's talk about, all right, it would be great. It would be great to be in a relationship, but do you understand that a relationship is not just something that's just like, I don't know, dude. A relationship is not just like pure dopamine. It's not cocaine, bro. Like, it has its moments for sure, definitely. But a relationship actually calls for dying to self, bro.
Yeah.
It calls so much for dying to self, especially, okay, both men and women, but I'm just gonna focus on the male aspect, because when Ephesians 5, we're specifically called to lay down our lives. Do you know what that means? You know what that means? That means, I mean, ideally all Christians, we should be prepared to give our lives and, you know, to seek the best for the other. But as men, we're specifically called to lead in doing that. We're supposed to like lead in doing that, to seek the best for the other, to show compassion, to, of course, guide, be steadfast, stern, all that stuff. But like, that call is not, it's an honor, but it's also it's a responsibility, man. It's a real thing to really, like, it's to whom is given much is expected. Do you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. It really is something. So, like, I know, for instance, now is like, patience is a big thing for me that I'm learning, for instance, that I keep learning in my relationship, especially with, you know, whether it's with family and the woman in my life, but now specifically with my girlfriend. But I know I started to recognize it, you know, over time. Like, for instance, just with my family, with the way I would speak to or treat my mom or my sister, you know. And I had to think about that, because those are people that I lived with every day. I would see them every day, right? Now, what is there? Like, if so now I'm speaking about myself as a person, but I'm also going to share stuff with you, because I know you and I are relatively similar in a lot of ways. So I know that with my mom and my sister, that, like, you and I know we've got like dry, sharp humor and stuff like that, and we can be like sarcastic and stuff, right? Yeah. So, and then at the same time, from time to time, like, if we, okay, at least for me, I know patience is a thing for me. I only, like, I don't live inside your head, but just because of how similar we sort of are, you can tell me if it's a yes or no, obviously, whatever. But for me, I know patience is a thing for me. I know that, and also with another friend of mine, the friend that just got married, it's now just over a month ago.
Yeah.
Like, with people that we know and that know us better and better over time, we expect that, like, they get things.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I've seen that, and I'm glad that, like, I had that combo with this friend that I'm talking about, because I also recognize that it's something that I hadn't put to words like that, but yeah, so it's like, okay, I have to think about it, man. Like, the people, like, I want things to improve here. So I'm also mindful, for instance, okay, now this slight tangent, but just how to approach conversations and people. So for me, for instance, what I think about here is, I think about what can I do to improve the situation. If I am saying something, and, you know, dude, it still feels like this happens so often at work and everything, but anyway, if I'm saying something and it feels like someone's not getting it, what what I've learned also, Shem, because at work there's courses and stuff that we do. They've taught us about communication, effective communication.
Yeah.
And one thing that I was learning when we were learning that is you have to understand who you're speaking to, understand your audience, what's relevant to them, understand what they're looking for, and then give that to them.
Okay. Yeah.
And now I've also shifted it into my personal life to be like, yo, am I applying this in my personal life? Like, I know I sometimes, the way that I think, other people don't think. Like the way I just, because dude, I will talk through something and I'll add like technical information and stuff, but I'm like, I've now learned to ask, does this person actually want to hear all of that? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, like, if you ask me about this phone, I need to know, what do you appreciate about the phone? Rather than saying, oh, it's got 16 gigabytes of RAM. Like, you probably will actually appreciate that. But not everyone's going to appreciate, like, RAM and memory, and it has this type of processor and chip, right? You might appreciate that, but not, like, anyone else. Like, so I specifically have to say, no, this thing takes excellent pictures. Like, even if you're in the dark, it's going to make you seem light. If you're shaking the camera while you're taking a video, you're going to seem stable. Someone might understand and relate to if I say it like that.
Yes, okay.
To you, I'll say, oh no, image stabilization, or CPU, like you'll understand that way. But yeah, so for me, that's been part. Why is this thing zooming? Anyway, that's been part of. That's just an example of me thinking about how I actually approach things for the sake of people.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not gonna lie, for my own peace of mind, it helps, because then if I know how to talk to a specific person, I know we're having a good conversation. I know that I'm reaching them in the best way I can reach them. They're understanding me, and I also, of course, try to understand them. But anyway, so coming all the way back to what I was saying about relationship and stuff like that. So this, for me, it's a bit of a grinding journey, dude, and a stripping, like, for me to be more and more patient and to keep trying to find ways and to pour out. That's not an easy thing, dude.
It's not a receiving situations. A lot of it's giving.
Exactly.
Of yourself.
And that's the thing. With the highest form of love, with agape love, we are ideally, like, we keep doing that, understanding that God pours into us, because no one in the world can fulfill us. That's another thing, dude. And that's a tough thing, because people in the world are right here.
Yeah.
You are right here, dude. I'm like, oh, my friend. But we have to understand that people cannot fulfill us. People cannot always get it right. People are literally just people.
Yeah.
People can only do so much. We have to be, as far as we can, not as far as we can, we have to be okay. Yeah, it's with God. Let me say that. We have to be okay where God has us by ourselves. And then when we're with someone, we're better together. And that's a hard thing. That is a hard thing.
Yeah.
That is a hard thing. So I'll say that as food for thought. But then also just so then back to my first thing that I was saying is there's things that we don't think about. There's things that, because trust me, your journey will be riddled. Like, once God brings a thing, your journey will be riddled with stuff that's going to be like, and in those moments, you're also going to be expected to say, thank you, God, that I'm here.
Yeah.
Thank you, God, that I'm here. This is what I mustn't say, God, actually. You ask God to be here. So understand. So for me, for everyone actually, it's important to know the importance of the season that we're in, and to ask God, what is there that I need to add, or that I need to ask you to add, or that you want to add, that I might not be letting you add? And God, what is there that you want to remove that I might not be letting you remove? Type of thing. So those are questions that we proper have to ask, because we'll think we've got the picture. We'll think we've got the answers. You'll look at Job. You'll look at the Israelites. The Israelites in the desert, they're freed from slavery, bro. Freed from slavery, and they're asking to go back.
Yeah.
They ask for food. Then they start complaining about the fact that they're eating the same thing every day. That's literally what they did. That's literally what they did. So we really have to look at our hearts in terms of where we are. And this is a hard thing, dude, but I have to say it. I've had to do it. I have to say it. We all have to do it. We have to look at where we are. We have to look at that contentment. We have to look and say, God, do I trust that where you've placed me is where I need to be? And also, finally, yes, here's where I also want to build up to, is for us not to miss all that is because of all that is quote unquote not.
Okay,
It's such an important thing, dude. Bro, because you know that there's someone that in your eyes, like say you could see their thought life and their action life, their real life. Say you had a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
There's someone that you might perceive as doing less than you think you're doing or should be doing, that you are doing, right? There's someone that you could see doing less, that you could think, based on what you feel you should have, is getting more.
Yeah.
And that person could feel the same or the worse or worse than you. To say, God, I want more. Oh God, why not? Oh God, why not? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the same time, we can flip it. There could be someone, bird's eye view, who's doing more but has quote unquote less. But they're saying, oh God, thank you for what I have. Type of thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So obviously I don't want to guilt trip, but it's like it's important for us to reflect and really say, because we don't know, guys. That's the point from Adam and Eve. We don't know. Since then, we don't know. We kept trying to think that we know, and Satan will always try to make us think that we know, because he knows that can help to turn us away from God. So I have to say that, man. I have to say that. Because now don't make me pull out receipts, bro.
Yeah.
Don't make me pull out receipts. You're gonna ask me to pull out receipts. I'll pull them out, bro.
It's fine. I get you.
I'll pull out receipts. But yeah, I hope you get what I'm saying. It's still tough, man. The feeling is tough. I get that, man. You know,
I'm just trying to say it's hard. Like
It's tough.
that's
It
what
is
I'm saying. I'm just trying to say I'm not trying to be delusional or anything. This thing is hard.
It is tough. But unfortunately, that's the feeling of the flesh and the fighting of the flesh. So, and the death of the flesh.
Yeah.
That's the feeling of it. Unfortunately, that's what it feels like. But I think it's pain that frees us. That's the thing. Like once we get beyond that pain, we're free. It's a freedom thing. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you have any other thoughts before we go to question 11, and actually before we reach 1 Corinthians.
No.
Thoughts or anything?
Good.
Okay. No, it's tough stuff, dude. It's tough stuff. It's literally day by day. Yeah, I think you and I realize by now it's not a switch, man. It's a mountain, but it's not a switch. So now we're gonna read 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. 1 Corinthians is just after Romans, which is just after Acts. I remember because someone taught me at some stage in life, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Ark, Geth, Acts, Romans, Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, different times. Someone just taught me one day and it stuck. I was like, oh, nice. 1 Corinthians, what did we say? 1 verse 13.
13.
Yes, sir. Oh, sorry, 10. 10 verse 13. Oh, yeah. I didn't see all those chapters, my bad. Do you want to read this one, sir?
Okay.
Highlight it.
The temptations in your life are no different from what others experience, and God is faithful.
Sorry.
He will not allow the temptation to be more than you can stand. When you are tempted, He will show you a way out so that you can endure.
That's a tough one also. That's also a tough one.
Okay.
That's also a tough one, man.
It's like God, He knows you're being tempted. But at least He gives us a way out, it says, yeah.
And you know why? Why I say that's a tough one is because do we look for that way out? I can tell you for me a lot of the time.
You don't.
I can tell you a lot of the time.
There's such an easy way out, even.
Dude, No, it's actually so easy. It's very easy.
Yes.
It's just unfortunately, the yes is also easy for us.
Yeah.
I hate it. But anyway, no, because I can say to you, I literally think possibly the only time I actually properly used the phone a friend thing was literally like this past Sunday. And I wasn't even that close. I just preempted it. Do you get what I'm saying? I was like, let me just phone, and then the rest of the day just went okay. By God's grace, because of that also. But I think that's literally the closest I've come to actually phoning a friend the way I'm supposed to. Anyway. Hey, what works, man. What are we going to say? So, the first question after reading that says, not only... Oh, this is literally what we just said. Not only does God not tempt, but he looks to provide us a means of escape. Does that mean there are some temptation we can't handle?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay, you've got a very strong answer. Yeah?
I think so, definitely. Like, I feel... Let me see if I can come up with an example. I don't know, lust is I guess, it's out there, right?
Yeah.
If, for some reason, you end up in a strip club. I don't know. That's not really the norm.
Yeah.
You think you're not going to keep going there. It's going to be something you can't handle. And I'm pretty sure I've never been in a situation where someone was like, hey, tomorrow night we're going to a strip club. Like, God has never put me in a situation where I can choose yes or no. So I know there's things in my life that God has planned where I would never be in a situation where I'd be in some place where I can't handle this. And I'm sure it can be for any other sin where there's some things we just can't handle. Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure there is places where we can't handle.
Okay, no, fair enough. Because, okay, so yeah, I'd say there may be things specifically that we can't handle, but what this Bible verse then tells us, I think we're in the right place with this. I think what this Bible verse then tells us is God will not allow us to get to that place that we can't handle. Yeah. So I think we can trust God there. And then, for instance, if you somehow find yourself at a strip club and you're a believer in God, if you today, you don't know why, but somehow you're at a strip club, like something happened, like bro, I need help, come fetch me, and then they just give you a location drop, then you get there, it's a strip club. I'm just saying, I'm trying to think of the way it would happen. I don't know how else it would happen. I can't think of another way it would happen. But you get what I'm saying. If that situation was allowed to happen, then I believe that God trusts that you can handle it.
Yes.
But if you don't come to that type of situation, that's why I personally have not been. I'm trying to remember. Have I ever been properly invited to a strip club? I don't think so.
That's what I'm trying to say. Same here. Like, there's never been a situation. Yeah. It's not like I didn't have friends who were non-believers or other. It just never came up, and I thank God for that.
So I think he definitely provides. He allows what we can. It's just for us to look for the way out. That's the tough part. We need to look for the way out. Yeah, that's proper stuff right there. I don't know. I think next question. I need to charge
question 12.
So question 12 says,
when and how did God recently provide a means of escape for you?
We basically answered this.
Basically, like all the time. Especially if you know you can handle it, then you know there's a means to escape.
But a specific example for me was Sunday. And what you said also for you was actually Sunday. So we thank God for that.
Yeah.
I thank God for what he did that day. I really thought to call you in general throughout, I think like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, somewhere there. I really thought to call you. I think especially Saturday as well. And then Sunday, I don't know, maybe I would have forgotten or something, but just the day that I had also just said, definitely gonna. And then, I had time, and then So that was
It's crazy. And Sunday is the day where you go to church, you're around people, you know, but still, temptation can happen.
Never know, man. Sometimes for me, you know, there's still a thing in my head because it happens like so many times. And I think this is especially what happened just before like my baptism and before he became my accountability partner. Is for me, I would try and hold off, you know, from looking at porn or masturbating or anything like that, and I would say, hey, I don't want to have done this thing and then go to church and be around people and, you know, be serving and because people also like I pour into people there, man. And I don't want that energy there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I know I've had this feeling before where after I've gone to church, I'm like, 7 days. I like like now that it's Sunday, I might give myself a reason to be like, it's whatever. I'll be okay in a week's time.
Yes. Yeah.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
Like if now after like I've already been to church and there's still such a long time for me to get right before next Sunday. Yeah. I don't think those are my exact words, but I feel like that's
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
Sunday could actually be the worst day.
Exactly. For me, I think that's how it came together. So I know, man, I need to charge my phone. It keeps
It's
locking.
fine. It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't
So-
intercede all the time.
Fair enough. So I know that's definitely something I felt, and this past Sunday, I still had like a memory of that feeling. Like it's still in there. So but yeah. Anyway, I think next one is number 13. This is the last like question. Then we get to some application type stuff. So number 13 says, from James' metaphors, temptation is clearly not sin. Are there temptations that make you feel guilty simply for being tempted? How does this affect you? Ooh. So I feel guilty I don't like that I'm so tempted by to look at women the way that I do. But that's more because I don't like thinking about them the way that I do. If I just looked at, like for instance, the easiest place for me to look at a woman is in her face.
Yeah.
Easy. Because for me, I don't know, like a beautiful face is just a beautiful face, but it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, I don't know, like, like, I don't know, man. I don't know, plus the face has been stated, like it's been built up even in society as, hey, my eyes are up here, you get what I mean? It's the place that you look in any case, and you respect someone by looking at their face type of thing.
Yeah.
Well, depending on the culture, but that's a different story, but you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
But even so, I'm also careful to not stare at someone. I sort of want to make it a thing that I only really look at someone if I'm maybe talking to them. Otherwise, like, what am I doing? You hear what I'm saying? So I don't like that I look at women that way. So in the temptation, it's not so much the fact that I don't want the desire to look at women in that way to be a desire. Let me say that. That's what I don't like. Yeah. I'd rather just, like I said, man, just be like, the same way I look at the clouds, man, the same way I look at the sunset, and be like, yo, God, you made that. That's beautiful. Like, or just be like, God, I'm thankful for my skin. I'm thankful for, like, the strength of my bones, and like I've got decently strong ankles. I thank God for that. I know it's a random thing, but you know what I'm saying. Like I'm thankful. Just stuff that I'm like, God, thanks, man. And I just continue with life. I don't know. I would like to just not objectify it and just be like, you've done a great thing, God. I'm there. I'm humbled. I'm blessed. May it continue to be a blessing, and may your glory just continue to, that's what I would hope to see. Anyway, that's me. What about you, man?
I think we also find ourselves in situations where we know we can be tempted. Like pre-temptation, if you want to. Like, YouTube, Instagram, Netflix can lead to things where you'll be tempted to lead you to sin. You know what I mean?
I guess.
So I don't like the fact that I find myself being in those spaces and then acting upon it. Or when I see it, then it's like, but you did put yourself there. You know that.
Ish.
Like you could have went to bed at 9, but now you're still watching TV at
Ish.
10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there is no temptation in watching Netflix, but you know the situation you're in can lead to temptation that can lead to sin. So I don't like that I do that sometimes.
Same.
So I definitely feel guilty. It's like one example, knowing that I should sleep at 9 or 10 and finding myself still awake at 11 watching TV. Because you're gonna search for something you don't need to search or whatever.
And usually where we don't want to sleep and stuff like that, at least for myself, but I imagine it's similar with you, is I still feel just like not right. Like there's an unsettledness or there's something that I'm still trying to feed. And that's why I end up not going to sleep. Like it's not a thing of, damn. It's not like I lost track of time. Like I know I don't know about you, but at least for me, I usually know what time it is and I'll say to myself, hey, I should be sleeping, bro.
Yeah.
But I'll just continue because it's like there's something, like I haven't been fed or I'm still looking for something. And
yeah, dude, like, it's crazy. Like, even last night, I was yawning, dude. I was yawning. It was 9 o'clock, I'm yawning. And I was like, I'm going to still watch the show because, there might be a scene there.
Yeah.
And I'm yawning. The episode finished, nothing. I was like, I can do episode 2. Give me something. This was last night even. So like I said at the beginning, this is stuff we're living, man.
Yeah.
This is stuff we're living.
Yeah.
So, like, could be yawning, eyes are red, and I want something that I don't need to have. And I could have been sleeping. So, definitely, I do feel guilty about that. And I know that that's not the sin, but I mean, that's one way of escaping. Don't even put yourself in that situation. Like, that's the pre-escape. It's like a horror movie. Exactly. You hear a sound. Like, why are you walking towards the sound?
It's like, actually, no.
Nope.
No.
I'm done. I'm going. I don't need to explore the basement tonight.
Honestly, just making healthy decisions. And just practically here, us sleeping and just doing the healthy thing. Like, the more sleep you get, just the more stable you feel in your body in any case, dude.
Yeah.
Like, your energy is it's generally better and hormones also balance a bit more. Your brain processes what it needs to process. Like, so if you make that decision, like it can take a bit of time to get used to it and to stabilize, but getting into, like, guys, sleep and food makes such a massive difference. Like, you can just spend like 2 seconds on this. Like I'll never forget this example of this one lady who came in for a coaching program at work, and she said that she, at some stage, she had migraines or something, right? Like, she just had constant migraines, and the doctors, like, they weren't sure exactly what was wrong, and then they just checked all, like, her lifestyle there, and they said, have you tried sleeping an hour longer? And literally that cured it, dude. Like, she was done.
Why does no one believe me that you need to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep?
I believe you.
Like, people, like, when I tell them, they're like, are you mad? Like, I only sleep 4 hours. And I'm like, are you mad?
4 hours is crazy, bro.
And apparently women, I don't know how true this is, but I don't know, I read this something, need to sleep 9 to 10 hours because that's how they were built or something like that.
I can believe.
But like, let's just say in general, male and female, whatever you are, 7 to 8 guys. It will help so much.
It really does, guys. It really does. That and food. Guys, if you lock down sleep and food, you'd be surprised how much just
Dude, water! I was scared how much people drink. Like, I even asked my mom, I think this was like in 2021, like, how much water do you actually drink? It's like, no, just a glass. Not even a glass, like sometimes.
Nothing, yeah.
They're like, no, but I drink tea. And I'm like, it's that meme of that guy. Like, Coke, juice, all of that. Even, no, I drink 100% fresh water. Guys, you need to drink water.
Water specifically, guys. It's so important.
Okay, when it comes to food, it's hard for a lot of people to have a healthy diet. But water is easy, guys. Water quenches your thirst. It's a simple thing. But anyway,
but some people they'll say, it tastes like nothing. You'll be surprised.
just drink the bloody thing. No, you know why I'm saying this as well, to whoever's listening. I used to only drink jungle yum. I don't know if you even know what that is. That's mix-up juice. That's your Oros. That's your Drinko Pop. But it used to be, you know these energy bottles you'd get?
Yeah.
The 500 mils? I'd put like this much of this concentrated syrup. The rest was water. That was my go-to from, I think I was in primary school till high school, whatever, dude. Only in varsity was I switched. It's like water only. And even until I used to drink juice every night until about a year ago, where like juice has as much. This it's so crazy. I know we're off a tangent. Not even talking about God, but this is still wisdom.
Yeah.
Juice, even if it's 100% whatever, and Coke actually almost have the same amount of sugar.
Yeah, a lot of sugar.
And I think I saw, cream soda has less sugar than juice. Cream soda, imagine.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was just looking at the Surf Fruit or Crush or something. Or no, sorry, not Surf Fruit, Licorice Fruit. That's the one.
Okay.
And I was like, what? It had that much sugar, and I used to drink this every night. I used to be proud of myself having, all the juice I could have. Look at me with my juice, and then I switched to water. It's really ism, It's a tough thing to do, but oh my goodness, it's gonna benefit you so much.
Your skin, your digestion, so many different things. Like it's water, guys. Oh. And also, guys, juice these days. Okay, I think the one that I got for us is actually 100%. But you'll be surprised how many juices you see.
Just read how much sugar this thing has. I know you only have it once.
Okay, this is Woolworths, yeah. But you'll be surprised, like your series and whatnot, they will tell you it's 40% fruit juice.
Yes.
The rest is whatever else.
The rest is you hoping. It's
It's
prayers.
Exactly, bruh. Okay, you see, ingredients: reconstituted grape juice concentrate, grape skin extract. What does that mean? Skin extract. Anyway, so the sugar in here is 12.6 per 100 grams per 100 ml. That's actually quite a bit.
Oh.
It's not unhealthy. Like unhealthy is more than like 22 grams per 100, but that's still quite a bit, guys. So juice is out there, guys. It's not nothing.
Okay, let's go back on topic.
But yeah. So that was question 13. Now
what are the answers?
Okay, yeah, let's look at for the answers for some of these, then we'll look at the applications. So where were we? We started with 10 today. 10, wait, where's 10? 9? Oh, we skipped 10.
No, it's there. It's below 9.
Did I miss it? No,
This says share, allow the group to discuss.
Oh, sorry, yeah. It's right there, sorry, yeah. Also a share one, okay, cool. So
11.
not only does God not tempt, but he looks okay. Does that mean there are some temptations we can't handle? The answers say, it seems implied the motivation for taking God's means to escape is knowing there really are certain situations we should not be in and don't have the capacity to handle. That's basically what we spoke about, I guess. Okay, now we're 12.
Well, that also leads to don't push God.
Yeah.
No, I mean, don't I handled watching this Netflix movie.
Oh, yeah.
I think I can handle, something on my laptop. Or I handled that thing on my laptop. Let's go to this trip. You know what I mean? Don't push him.
Yeah.
Just, you have he knows what you can't handle. Yeah. You don't think you know what you can handle.
Yeah, don't push yourself, man. Because what you handle is also by grace, let's be honest. Grace is something we must not take it for granted, guys. To think that things have been okay just because of our own efforts. Guys, grace is a real thing. Grace is such an underrated, overlooked thing. Grace is really God just saying, my child, I love you. I'm going to let things be at this level and not a level more. Grace, guys, don't overlook grace. When and how did God recently provide? Yep, we spoke about that from Jay's metaphors. Temptation is not sin, or that temptations make you feel guilty. It's also a discussion. Let's see what answer they gave. This is important to talk about because people can feel they've sinned just by being tempted. This can actually precipitate them sinning. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
This can lead people down a spiral. Alright, so now we're going to ask and then see answers. There's a few application questions, yeah? Number 14, James 1:16 says, don't be deceived. What in the verses we've looked at would keep you from being deceived? So, one thing, okay, it says James 1:16. Let's actually quickly go look at what's surrounding it. But I think for me, it's to understand that sin comes from the desires, that end up being built up in our hearts over time, in our lives. Just before this, verse 15 says, these desires give birth to sinful actions. When sin is allowed to grow, it gives birth to death. Don't be misled, my dear brothers and sisters. Whatever is good and perfect is a gift coming down to us from God. So basically, it's God not tempting us to do wrong. It's our desires that drag us away, basically. Temptation comes from our own desires, yeah. I think that's what James is saying, don't be deceived. Because otherwise, if we believe it's outside of us, we can easily just say, oh, well, I couldn't help it.
Yeah.
Really, that's not the case, guys. So, yeah, man. For me, it's the fact that we must acknowledge what our desires, like what our heart's posture is in our desires. Like I said, that I don't want to desire to see women in that way, but to really appreciate the beauty. Also in the way that I see myself, for instance. I mean, that could be, could play a role, for instance, in accepting myself and whatnot. That would play a role in why I would want to seek pleasure in looking at women, in seek pleasure even in just the feeling of orgasm, stuff like that. Just that self-indulgence, that selfishness, whatever. So for me, I really have to see where my desires lie. Do I desire to honor God, to love God? That's what I got quoted to us. So yeah, that's what keeps me from being deceived, is to understand that it comes from our desires play such a massive role, and I really want God to change the desires of my heart to be like His desires, That's me, man. What about you?
I think to add on to that, I think what I like about, I guess, being a Christian sometimes, not to be like self-righteous or anything, is this: we're given the space to actually do proper introspection. Like, okay, so what actually led to you to do this? I mean, I feel like in society we don't talk about actually. So why are you like this? Why are you this person? And thanks to God's grace, we can ask those questions without feeling ashamed. You know what I mean? So in other communities, you don't actually want to know why you do these evil things, because you don't believe in God, so you don't believe in grace.
It's all on you.
So it's all on you. So you never ask yourself the question. So you're just in a cycle of shame. So that's why I'm saying I like the fact that in our community that God gives us His grace. Once you understand what grace is, you're allowed to dig deeper. You're allowed to, why do I lust? Is it something from my childhood? Let's talk about it. Let's go back in time. Is it my personality? Is it the things I do on a daily basis? What am I doing on a daily basis? Why do I find pleasure in this? What am I reading? What am I listening to? What am I watching? And you can get to a point where you'll be like, okay, so that's actually why I'm doing it. Let's say, for example, you never had a good relationship with your mom or something. That's why you see women in a certain way. There's grace for that. You don't have to beat yourself up. You don't have to be that person. Jesus died for your mom, for you, for your relationship. So that's why, even to the day, I don't understand what grace is completely, and I hope I never fully understand, because that would put me on the same level as God. So yeah, I love that we can. So to get back to what would you do to keep from being deceived, is to do that introspection, especially if you are a believer. If you're not a believer, you can, at any time, you can ask God to be your savior. If you are a believer, there's grace for you to ask these questions, to wonder why you do these evil things. I've asked myself, why do I lust? Like, is it because of my personality? What have I been watching my whole life? What led me to watch those things my whole life? What was the relationship with my parents? And it does make me feel guilty sometimes, and that's where God's grace comes in. I think that's just so beautiful. So yeah, that's an answer.
100%. No answer for that. A lot of group to discuss. So, guys, grace is so important, and that digging deeper, because otherwise that stuff keeps us in a prison, it shackles us down. But where we start to address it and allow God to just heal us, then we are free, man. Because these things, dude, the shame, the fear.
Can I just say, like, doing sinful things doesn't make you more free. We think being part of the world makes us more free. It actually enslaves you.
So much.
Yeah, anyway.
Because then the thing is, you're never fulfilled by it, so you just end up seeking more of it. That's literally...
You're thinking, oh, look at me being so rebellious. Look how free I am. I can sleep with whoever I want. I can be whatever I want. And you're like...
Getting it wrong.
It doesn't work like that.
It's just spiraling, honestly.
Spiraling.
Things that can't hold you up. You keep trying to put a foundation on them. And it's just, Hey. Next question. What causes you to want to blame, rationalize, and not seek out God's means of escape? What do you believe sin will provide that God can't? We've sort of spoken about this, but
this one is actually, that one hits home for me.
Dude.
For me personally, it's like, God, I did what you asked me to do, and I'm not seeing things. Let's go. Let me do it myself. Let me figure it out myself. Let me try and seek this thing myself. That's, for me, it's like this constant battle. I don't know about other people, but for me, it's like, but God, I did what you asked, and now, okay, I want to do it my own way. And obviously, I fail trying to do it my own way. What do I believe sin will provide that God can't? For me, I guess, or in the past, it was that immediate dopamine hit. It's that immediate relief. That, I did something that I wasn't supposed to do, but I know God still loves me, so I did it anyway. He's going to forgive me. It's stuff like that, I feel. Not want to escape. I'll be honest with you, there's just been times where I don't want to be good. I don't want to do what God has asked me to do. I want to be rebellious, and I don't know. It's just like, I don't know how to rationalize it, like the question you're asking. I just want to do something on my own, and I know it's wrong, and this is something you have to battle with every day, fight with every day, and trust God will give you enough wisdom and strength to move through that. But sometimes when I can see there's a means of escape, like I told you about last night, I could have went to bed. That was the means of escape. No, I wanted to see what I wanted to see at that moment. For no reason, just to be in the moment and just be self-fulfilling. But yeah.
No, dude. I'd say also, like, we can usually see, like, for stuff where we know what the outcome is, it's like we choose to say nah, because I can see what the outcome is right now. I'm gonna take that. I feel like that's what we end up saying, essentially. Because God, I can't see your outcome. I can't see the end now. I can't see. Like, we might be in a space where we're like, God, I'm not even sure now. Like right now, like, I just want to feel. I want to feel a level of fulfillment or reassurance, and maybe I'm not feeling it from you, God. So this is something that I know will make me feel good right now. I know the outcome. I know the result. for me, that's probably a way to rationalize it. To not seek out escape is because we know that we know how it's gonna feel. We know what it is right now.
We also know the repercussions, and we're like, we can handle it.
Oh, that too.
It's like, I know I'm gonna feel like SHIT the next day, but I think I can handle it.
That one.
And it's a cycle.
That one. It's a war zone. Do you believe sin will provide a God? Yeah, no, we basically answered that. Let's see what it says down here. Here you're looking for you to go deep and thinking about and being honest about their motivations to sin. Yeah, I think we've covered it.
Please, you don't need a motivation to sin.
Eish.
Like, you don't need someone cheering you on. You can't sin. Nah, man, it's so easy to do it. But it's hard to get away from it.
I remember, like I said to you, I think it's also easy to not.
If you
think about, for instance, let's be honest, guys, it's easier to not watch porn than it is to watch porn. Let's just think about it. It's easier to do nothing. But in our minds and the way we build things up and the way we see things, we, for instance, don't like doing nothing, right?
Yes.
We, for instance, maybe don't like this constant productivity, or I don't know, man, like and things that seem like long-term gratification. We don't necessarily like that. But it's easy, for instance, for me to just, dude, it takes effort to do that stuff, but just for what we feel is that quick gratification we get, we think it's worth it. Anyway, question 16. We're actually almost done with this Bible study. Wow. Where would you rather self-medicate and self-provide rather than wait for God's provisions?
I feel like we've spoken about this throughout.
A lot of the time it's
weeks.
lust
is my big one.
It's a big one. And okay, so for me, not food, for instance, I don't know, maybe trusting people or being patient. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to relate it to stuff with work and with, I'll be dying out here. I'll relate it to like work and maybe even church or anything like where I have to collaborate or work with people, or I know from time to time I tend to just step in and be like, let me do something. And I thank God for the ability He gives me He's given me to do things do things with excellence, but there's also an offstandish way in which I can do things, and like not giving people a chance, or sometimes just like my way in things, and it can hurt, man. It can hurt people, and people not feel trusted, and people feel less than or whatever if you don't give people a chance, or if you don't try to work with them. It also hurts me, man, and it can also just hurt the actual thing we're doing, because let's be honest, guys, like no matter what we think, most of the time, more than one brain, more than one viewpoint is going to help something to be good or better. A lot of the time. Like, of course, you look at the viewpoint. Like, if no, guys, you can judge for like at least you can give a viewpoint a chance, and then you can judge and say, like, if I'm saying, we should paint the stop sign red because that's generally the way it should be. And then someone says, no, I feel like we should paint it blue. I'm talking nonsense, obviously. Like, but at least they got to say something.
Yeah.
Like, here's someone out. But to just not even let anything come to light. Like, someone could say, hey, man, but we should make it fluorescent red so that at night someone might be able to see it. Stuff like, I'm just coming up with a silly example, but yeah. So it's important to, at least for me, to also consider, this is, for instance, trying to do things on my own strength, not just in like lust or anything like that, but also in work and in trusting, and yeah. So that's one thing for me. I don't know if you have any other examples for yourself, man.
I said lust. I think, food, definitely. Like, I'll be like, it's easier just to go eat a takeout than to cook something, you know what I mean? So, I don't know if that's waiting for God's provision, but I guess in general, taking the easy way out. Yeah.
Rather than long term, because
Yeah.
if you think about it, just as a thought now, if you get used to take out now, and it's relatively expensive for you, well, it's manageably expensive. You get what I say that because it's expensive, but for yourself you can manage it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine now you get a wife, and then kids come along.
Where's those discounts?
Uber Eats promo. I mean, not to say maybe God will provide a lot, but still, ideally, guys, it's just great if you're able to cook also and prepare stuff at home and spend that time with family. Like, there's so much value in that. In any case, like yeah, not to say takeout is the devil. You should never have takeout, but it's like. Yeah, there's different things that we can do for different reasons that can serve such nice purposes. Like, and the labor of our hands is actually such a fulfilling thing, guys. It's such a fulfilling thing, dude. It's just a very side tangent here. I still have like that 4-pack of like chili and ginger and garlic. And I've been chucking it into my noodles and into my eggs. Yo, next level. Next level, oh my gosh. And soy sauce. Yo, soy sauce is goated, bro. Soy sauce is busted, bro. Soy sauce is Mbappe on FIFA, bro. You just chuck it and whatever you're making is just, bro. Soy sauce is busted, bro. Like, I feel like JB Oliver, who's this other guy that showed, like Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah.
Just from chucking a little bit of soy sauce in, of course, then adding these little spices. Bro.
It just works.
It just levels it up. And all I eat, like, I think you know me by now, all I eat is generally noodles.
Noodle boy.
No, I put noodles, but I do put pasta sauce. Like, I zhuzh it up. I put pasta sauce, I put mayo, I mix it in. It's actually, mayo mixes quite nicely into noodles, actually, dude. Like, it spreads quite nicely.
Mayo?
Yeah, I just add I take like a fork.
Yeah.
And just a bit of a clump in the fork, and then I just mix it in. It's actually puts a nice consistency and taste to spread around the noodles. It's really nice, actually.
Interesting.
So I do that. Usually it's gonna be noodles, salt, pasta sauce, which really levels it up. It really does. The tomato stirring pasta sauce, it levels it up, dude. I put a tiny bit of salt because I don't want my blood pressure to go up. And then that just does it. And then I add like veggies.
You should try Himalayan salt, by the way.
Which one?
Himalayan.
The pink salt.
The pink one.
Yeah, that's the one that I use actually.
Oh, okay.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And then I put in just some veggies, the roasted, those seasonal vegetables. And then I also will either put in like some slices of boiled egg or some chicken. These days I've been doing like just sliced chicken breast or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's my full meal generally each night. And it's proper. It's proteins, veggies, carbs, everything's in there. But adding these spices, bruh, and soy sauce, yo. Anyway, let's do the last question. I think we're still very nicely on time. Last question. I think this is a group discussion. I'll just check in the answer, but I think this is a group discussion. You want the group to see the areas where they turn from God and trust and rely on worldly things to meet their needs. Yep. Our own understanding, quick gratification. Yeah. Alright, last question. In James chapter 1 verse 18, why does James focus our attention on our new birth and the word of truth? How does this contrast with the cycle of sin and temptation? How are we to experience this reality daily? So I feel like we're literally coming full circle here with the realization from the beginning of the session, because we're saying that this birth metaphor, we were talking previously about how we give birth to sin in the previous verses, and how like the same way like a baby grows, a child grows and whatnot, like sin can be with you throughout your life. There's a legacy to it, there's implications, there's costs.
Yeah.
So now if we being born anew, being new creations in God, in Jesus, and then giving birth to the fruit of the Spirit, and different things like that, in bearing that instead of bearing sin. Bars, levels. Then we still have the same implications, but now we have a legacy of godliness, of things that glorify God, of things that God also will multiply, man, and just and a legacy and multiplication of freedom as opposed to a legacy and multiplication of bondage and shame and fear, dude.
Yeah.
So for me, that's like the contrast, and also for us to experience that reality daily is to just. It's so important to seek to obey, but to seek to obey, we have to seek to love God just more and more. Because if you seek to love God, we want to live like Him, or live the way that He wants us to live. Because if you love God, like, it's harder and harder to love sin if you love God. It's harder and harder to seek comfort in sin if you're seeking comfort in, like, you seek comfort in the things that you love. God, thank you. Holy Spirit, you are speaking, man. You seek comfort in the things that you love.
Yeah.
We should seek the highest form of comfort, of course, in the place we should seek the highest form of love, which is God. Goodness gracious. Thank you, God, for that, man. I'm glad we're recording. Wow. Thank you, God, for that. That's me, man. What do you want to say, bro?
That reminds me of something I said at IK a while back. Where we were having like a co-worker meeting. If you don't know what IK is, it's a Friday youth group for kids. And co-workers are the people that led the kids. Anyway, so I remember I was struggling with, or we were struggling as a group for people to be consistently coming to meetings on Tuesday, right? And even on Friday, some co-workers would never show up on a Friday. And I remember just thinking, but we'll do it so easily for TV and for like going to the cinema, or like you and me know, like Dragon Ball Z, 5 o'clock, nothing would take you away from the TV. Like there could be a meteor and you would still be watching.
We would run, bro.
Like, you know what I mean? The statement that God gave me at the time, sure, and I haven't said this to myself in a long time, and I'm thinking about it now because you mentioned it, is you'll make time for the things you love. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what I was trying to tell the co-workers back then. Like, if you love this thing of ministering to kids or being around at IK, that 5 to 7 Tuesday meeting or that 3 to 6 IK on a Friday, it's like nothing. You know what I mean? And I remember that same week I was like, what if I don't watch TV this week and I read a book? Let's take things that are, find time for these things, so it just comes back to like what you mentioned. When you love God, you'll make time for Him, and then when you make time for Him, there's no time for anything else. So it just reminded me of that. How are we to experience this reality daily? When you finding time and giving birth to sin and giving birth to the word of truth is in parallel, because both you can feed and both you can train, right? So when you feed or train sin, it becomes harder to get out of the situation. But on the contrast, when you feed and train the fruits of the Spirit, the word of God, patience, kindness, goodness, all of that, it becomes so easy. Like for me, I remember back then, like I would only get, I don't know, like 10 Rand or 20 Rand a month allowance or whatever. And I remember like at IK they used to do offering, and I used to just give 5 Rand. And for me that was a lot. That was a pizza at Ridgeville, for those who went to Ridgeville. That was something you could eat, but it was hard. And now to give 5 Rand is like that thing, like I can give 5 Rand in my sleep away. And then over the years, 5 Rand would become 100 Rand, and then 100 Rand would become 1,000. And each time it was harder. But now looking back, like if God asked me now to give 1,000 Rand, that's fine because I've done it before. Obviously, if you ask me to give 10,000, that's a bit harder. You know what I mean? So it's it's feeding and training. In goodness, you can train your goodness, your fruits of the Spirit. Your fruit doesn't have to be a small tiny apple. It can be an actual apple that people can enjoy and eat. So yeah, it's a daily thing. It really is.
And God will provide opportunities not just for you to be consistent, but for you to grow. That's the one
Yes,
thing.
yeah.
One thing about God. You'll think, oh, like Austin's saying, man. Like you're saying, bro, like, the way you're talking now, I'm talking to the phone instead of to you, man. Anyway, it's like you're saying, man, like, giving 5 rand be easy. God will give you an opportunity to give 100, an opportunity to give 1,000 that you won't go seek for. And one thing, giving is such an important way to actually open your heart to the love of God. For it to receive it, number one. Number two, to give it out. Giving on earth is such, because we really, like, it's hard for us to let go of that, oh no, what if? Or what about me? It's so tough. But so, hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. You'll say, God, give me a chance or opportunities to be generous. He will give you opportunities, and boy, if you ask for it, respond, obey, be obedient. Loving God is obeying God. So, yeah. Let's see how this thing answers. In contrast to the dynamic of sin, we are encouraged to remember the dynamic of our salvation. A new birth conceived by the word of truth planted in us. Just as temptation is an ongoing cycle, so is this.
Yeah, like Jesus didn't die for what you did in 2014. He died for you then and now.
And now.
You know, it's an everyday thing.
And what continues to happen.
Mm-hmm.
As we hear the truth of our sin, we repent and turn to Christ for forgiveness and empowerment, just like we did when we first believed. So it's important for us to remember why we first believe, why we still believe. It's not just that back then we were saying, God, please forgive me and take you as my Lord and Savior. Every day we're saying, God, help me to live the way that you want me to. Back then, ideally, that's when you started to say, God, help me to live the way that you want me to live. But it doesn't mean just because of how I've sinned so far. Help me to live how you want me to live is how do I go about now, going into the future, actually bearing fruit, actually loving you, responding to your love for me. Hey, that's the journey, man. All right. Do you want to wrap up the recording, sir?
Yeah, that's been the Dare to Be Different podcast. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.